What is up, and I welcome each and every one of you back to a brand new video. I hope you're all having fantastic days, and if not, I hope I can make your day just a little bit better. Before we get started, like, comment, subscribe. Did I tell you guys to subscribe? Because that is something you should definitely do, subscribe. We are looking at what is next for the Civilization series today. As you all know, Civilization 6 has just completed the New Frontier Pass, and there are some rumblings about how they might continue making expansions for Civ 6, or how they might go towards a spin-off game, or go towards Civ 7, or just, I have no idea what's going on. No one knows what's going on. The point of this video is to look at the history of Civilization, look at everything Civilization 6 did, looking at some external factors, and looking at how the 2K Firaxis production company is looking, and hopefully make a prediction towards what is going to come next for the Civilization series. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started. The most important thing we have to work about is the history of the Civilization series. Now, the modern era of the history of Civilization, I think, would probably start from around Civilization 4 or Civilization 5. I started playing around Civilization 5 when Gods and Kings came out. I actually did not get Gods of King. I didn't get Civilization 5 until Brave New World. I was watching a lot of YouTube videos, so by the time I did get Brave New World, I was consistently playing on Emperor difficulty. Yeah, I was addicted to Civ 5 before I even got the game. I know. But let's go real quickly and look through Civilization 4. Just going to talk about that real quick, even though I don't know too much about it. The wiki page states that Civilization 4 was published in 2006. A year later, it came out with the Civilization 4 Warlords expansion pack. And the year after that, it came out with the Civilization 4 Beyond the Sword expansion pack. And then also, something interesting to know. A remake of the 1994 Sid Meier's Colonization, rebuilt with the Civs 4 game engine, called Civilization 4 Colonization, released as a standalone game. However, it did bundle with Civilization 4 and all the expansions towards the complete edition. My God, something's in my throat. Okay, so what this tells us is Civilization 4 came out with 2 expansions, and there was a standalone game that came out with it using its engine. So it was kind of like, I think, Civilization 5 and then Civilization Beyond Earth, which used Civilization 5's engine and used a lot of its properties. Although it doesn't count as an expansion, it counts as a standalone game. So we are not going to be counting Civilization 4 Colonization Edition. So we got Civilization 4 and 2 expansions. After that, we have Civilization 5. Civilization 5 was the most monumental, the most important Civilization game up to date. Civilization 5 is one of the greatest games to release in the 2010s. Definitely a top 3 strategy game to release in the 2010s. It was damn near perfect, and everybody knew it. The base game was a little bit lacking, but by the time we got the Gods and Kings and Brave New World, which were the 2 expansion packs that came out for Civilization 5, it was one of the greatest games to ever exist, jam-packed with content, civilizations, and replayability that could quite easily take you to a few thousand hours and beyond. Me personally, I had about 2,000 hours before my Steam decided to reset, and then I ended up with another 600. So I ended up with 2,600 total hours on Civ 5, not counting all the YouTube I watched before I even got the game. So, yeah, there is that. But as you can see, Civilization 5 did also come out with 2 expansion packs, just like Civilization 4. And then it came out with the Beyond Earth game using the Civilization 5 engine, although the complete edition was not bundled with the Civilization Beyond Earth packet, unless I'm missing something. I could be wrong. So what we're looking at is towards the beginning of the golden age of the Civilization series. We have Civilization 4, Civilization 5, both coming out with 2 expansions and a spin-off game before moving on to the next game. And now we are going to look at Civilization 6. Civilization 6 started off the exact same way. The base game came out with absolutely no content whatsoever. It was so bare, so raw, you would think that there was no condom placed on when they were deciding to make this game. But then the Rise and Fall expansion came out. Now, personally, I feel like Rise and Fall was slightly underwhelming when it came to different systems, but the content produced, like the Ottoman Empire, the new civilizations, Litoro even, Coupe came with Gathering Storm, never mind. It was a little underwhelming in my opinion, although it was definitely an incredible boost to the Civilization 6 base game, and that is where I started kind of like putting more effort in towards Civilization 6. And then Gathering Storm came out. Gathering Storm was an incredible expansion pack, completing Civilization 6 in my opinion. And then Civilization 6 came, and then Civilization 6 was essentially complete. I completely moved over from playing like half and half Civ 5 and Civ 6 to just playing Civilization 6. And as you would assume, we all thought that after Civilization 6 Gathering Storm, we would think the game was complete. Maybe a few updates or two here and there, but I thought they were going to go towards the spin-off type game using Civilization 6 engine, just like Civ 4 Colonization and Civilization 5, the Beyond Earth pack, the Beyond Earth game mode, sorry. They came out with a curveball. They came out, it was usually, I think it was mostly influenced by I think it was kind of influenced by sort of the Battle Royale games and having sort of a pack you work towards. They came out with the New Frontier Pass pack, which was sort of a mini expansion. Not too many new game system. You do have the game modes coming out, which is sort of like new game systems, but you choose what game systems you want. Nothing really ingrained into the game. It came out with new civilizations, new leaders, new great people, new packs, and yeah, it was really nice. And nobody thought, at least at Firaxis, I think they thought they were going to make some nice sales, maybe expand onto Civ 6, but there was no way they thought it was going to be as successful as it was. The New Frontier Pass was an unmitigated success, 100%. It was 100% worth getting the New Frontier Pass and then slowly rolling out all the content. Not only did you have so much more content, but rolling it out over the course of one whole year. I think the first pack came out either in May or in April of last year. But you kept getting hype for Civilization 6, and the hype led to just more people coming in, buying the game, buying the New Frontier Pass, buying all the expansions. So this is where some people are starting to think, okay, they came out and started something completely different because Civilization 4 and 5 did not have the New Frontier Pass or anything like that. However, Civilization 6 did come out with the New Frontier Pass, and we're starting to think like, okay, maybe they'll try to expand this a little bit more. Maybe they'll come out with a New Frontier Pass. We have to look at the case study of Civilization 5. Civilization 5 was one of the most important games. It was the most best-selling game. It was the most successful game in the Civilization series. Absolutely incredible game. However, they decided not to go for a third expansion for Civilization 5. They decided to go for Beyond Earth into Civilization 6. Now, whether that was a good idea or not is up for debate. I personally think that if they came out with, instead of Beyond Earth, they came out with a third expansion, that would have been, well, obviously hindsight is 2020, but it would have been better. However, Civilization 6 is sort of, no pun intended, advancing through new frontiers. The New Frontier Pass was an absolute unmitigated success, so going for a New Frontier Pass or anything of that nature isn't anything out of the realm of the ordinary, especially considering all the external factors that are coming when we are talking about the Civilization series. Now, before the end of Civilization 6, Firaxis pretty much had a monopoly over the Civilization series. Obviously, you had different Paradox games like Hearts of Iron 4, EU 4, Victoria 2, Victoria 3 actually, all those games, which are sort of similar, you could say, to Civilization. However, there isn't anything where it's like building up your civilization from the beginning of time. Not to mention Paradox games are a little bit more expensive, so casual players come towards Civilization 6 more often than not. You also have games like Age of Empires and stuff like that, the real-time strategy games. Although, those games really aren't too popular at the moment, although Age of Empires 4 is coming out, so huge surge in popularity. Might even get started on that game as well. But Firaxis sort of had a monopoly. No one had a game like Civilization until now. For those of you who don't know, there is a new game coming out called Humankind. Now, before you guys come out in the comments section and start assaulting me like, oh, if Humankind isn't going to do anything to Civ 6, I'm going to buy both games. Well, yeah, you might be buying both games, but let's be completely honest. Two competitors competing for the same slot, civilization games, building up your empire through the test of time, they're going to cut into each other's profit. Let's be honest. Everyone's going to buy Humankind that is playing Civilization, and depending on how addicted they get to Humankind, it might not be viable for Firaxis to go for a Civilization 7, which reasons I will get to in the future. Let's talk about why Humankind could potentially be not the Civ 6 killer. I don't ever think it's going to kill Civilization 6, but I feel like it is going to, at the very least, cut into the market share. How much depends on how good it is. There is one thing that happened that I think is going to be a little bit dangerous for Firaxis. Humankind was set to release towards the end of April. However, they moved it towards the end of August because they said they wanted to make a perfect type of game, right? Which makes sense. The community thought Humankind could use a little more polish, a little more work, as did the developers. So they are moving it a few months forward, which is completely massive. I've looked at Humankind, not anything too in-depth though, but it is looking like it's going to be a really good game in my opinion. Definitely a fun game, definitely going to be playing it on this channel, so do stay tuned for that. I think there's an open dev coming out in the end of April. I might try something if they allow me to. But yeah, the fact that they have developers wanting to make a perfect game also makes sense, because if you are going to cut into Civilization 6's territory, then you are going to have to come out with a bang. Depending on how well Humankind does, could influence what Firaxis does in the future. If Humankind comes out and is absolutely incredible, you know, it is everything it was advertised, it is perfect, they are in a little bit of a situation. If they decide to go for a spin-off or a Civilization 7, which, let's be honest, it is going to be a base, raw, no condom type of game, well, you know, that's probably not going to, like, what are you going to play? Are you going to play the almost completed Humankind, or are you going to play Civilization 7, which is completely bare bones, as was Civilization 6, 5, and I think 4 as well. Not too sure about 4, though. So maybe it would be better for Firaxis to come out with a new Frontier Pass, maybe around May or June, a few months before Humankind comes out. Sort of keep the hype going, maybe even come out with an actual expansion pack, is what I think they could potentially do. Obviously, if Humankind flops, there really is nothing to worry about, although I don't think it's going to flop. It might. It might. I'm going to come out here and say there's a chance it can flop. Obviously, every new game has that. But I think it's personally going to be a really good game. And depending on how much better it is than the Civilization series, how much more innovative it is, then it could pose a problem for Firaxis. Now, after talking about the Humankind effect, let's get into my personal preferences and what my predictions are going to be. Now, for personal preferences, I hope they do decide to come out with a new Frontier Pass. And instead, I think instead of game modes, I'm hoping they come out with, like, actual features implemented into the game. Coming out with, like, even more civilizations. You know, there are plenty of civilizations you can still add in. Lots of civilizations from the Asian subcontinent, maybe something like the Kievan Rus or something. Lots of Native American civilizations. There are still a few European civilizations, like maybe you could go for Italy. Maybe you could go for maybe, okay, well, I can't think of anything right now, quite honestly. Maybe you could also go for something like the Sassanid Empire. Maybe you could go for, like, the Visigothic Empire or something like that. Lots of new civs you can definitely do. The content, I think, that's obviously what I would like. I'd like them to continue working on Civ 6, because if not, then it's going to take a few years to get Civilization 7. Another few years for Civilization 7 to be any good. And then, you know, I don't want to wait 4 years until, you know, we get, like, Civilization 7, like, a really good game that's at the level that Civilization 6 is right now. So personal preference, I think I want them to continue working on Civilization 6, and then maybe after the new Frontier Pass, like right after that, they could, like, come out with an announcement for Civ 7, so there's, like, less of a waiting time in between. Although I obviously doubt it. There are economics involved that I am nowhere near qualified enough to talk about. As for predictions, I believe they are going to continue the course that they have set before and go for Civilization 7, although I think they are also going to wait until after Humankind comes out to see how well Humankind does. If Humankind does extremely well, I feel like they are going to come out with a new game and put maybe the ideas they had for the first expansion into the base game, so it's sort of like more fleshed out and can compete with Humankind a little bit more. If Humankind ends up flopping or not doing as well as thought, they're going to come out with the Civ 6 base game, absolutely no content, nothing too good going on, and then like do the same thing they have been doing for the past decade at this point, come out with 2 expansions, maybe another new frontier pass for Civilization 7 or something like that. I highly doubt they are going to continue working on Civilization 6. It is already a completed game. It is already, like, really, really nice. I'd obviously hope if they did the multiplayer. There is a video I made about top 5 things I would change about Civ 5 that you can check out in my channel. But yeah, those are my predictions. I think they are going to just continue the course, come out with maybe a spin-off game using Civ 6's engine, and then come out with the Civilization 7 game in a couple years, and then just continue the course of cycle. Though I do also think it depends on how well Humankind does. That is going to be it for right now, ladies and gentlemen. As always, like, comment, subscribe. I am going to be coming out with a video next week comparing Civilization 6 and Civilization 5 and finding out which one of these titans was the better game. So definitely stay tuned for that. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Did I tell you guys to subscribe? Because that is something you should definitely be doing. New video series coming out later, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.